one of the really important quotes that can be referenced from the Islamic tradition, from the intellectual tradition, comes from the scholar Rhamis Kent. And he had talked about what he understood to be the existential reasons, the primary reasons for human existence, right? Why do we exist? And in our existing in the world, what should we be busying ourselves with? What should we be concerning ourselves with as beings, as human beings, as a species? And he highlighted three things. The first one he mentions is imrat al-ard, right? The cultivation or the betterment of land. The second one he mentions is ibadah, or worship. The third one he highlights is khilafa, or stewardship, or the vicegerency, the actual tending to the creation. And what's interesting about those three purposes that he highlights is that two of them are related to how the human being comports itself in relation to the creation. So we can see that how we behave in the world, what we do in the world, is very much connected to our understanding of religion. And so this idea of the cultivation of the betterment of earth, that the way that we comport ourselves in the world says something about who we are. It actually speaks to our character. And one of the things he had mentions in this book is that it's by means of our ability to perform this function that we are actually able to display the divine attributes, divine qualities. And some of the qualities he mentions are wisdom, justice, beneficence, forbearance. And he mentions that these qualities that are related or connected to the divine, right, and how we actually experience the divine in this realm, in this world. And the degree to which we're able to actually model those behaviors, model those attributes, is the degree to which we're able to gain proximity to Allah. This is how we gain proximity to God. And this is a means by which we're able to actually reach paradise, right? We are able to actually arrive to Allah and arrive to Jannah, is through our ability to actually put these qualities on display. You can see that actually human history is entirely driven by whether or not human beings were able to broker a relationship, a mutually beneficial relationship, a partnership with their physical surroundings. And it does speak to something about the character of that community. And one of the things that we can say is that land does not lie, right? Land does not lie. That you can actually see something about a people that is reflected by the place in which they live. And you may claim to be one thing, but the area, the physical place where you are, will actually tell whether or not what you claim to be is in fact true. It's certainly in the past, that probably in an era that was sort of pre-industrial, pre-consumer, when we're still sort of pre-modern, that when we still lived lives that were very closely tied to landscape, very closely tied to the places that we lived in, that we had a very clear understanding that our fate and our well-being was closely aligned with the well-being of land. And that we understood that land, being that this is something that is created by God, right, by Allah, our claim to belief, and I think the quality of our belief in practice is really reflected in, and again, how we behave, how we comport ourselves in relation to the creation. So if we see this sentiment that is expressed in the Quran that no matter where it is that we turn our face, right, we find Allah. Right? We find Allah reflected in what it is that Allah created. And if we have a regard, if we have a claim of having regard for Allah, then we need to have a regard for what it is that Allah created. Right? Because we are seeing all around us, even in our own selves, we are seeing some expression of the divine. And as was expressed in the Al-Isfahani quote, it's by virtue of our ability to be able to express divine attributes ourselves, again, in stewarding the creation, right? What does it mean to steward something? It means that you're taking care of something, right? It doesn't belong to you. You're taking care of something on behalf of someone else, right? On behalf of the owner, right? Who's going to come back and they're going to see what kind of job you've done. And unless we perform our job, right, unless we actually perform our function, then this ecology, this community is not able to fully express itself in the way that it was intended. And this is the test. The test is whether or not we actually are doing our job in that regard, right? Are we actually bettering the earth? Are we cultivating it? Right? And are we actually caring for it? Are we stewarding it? And whether or not we're doing it is actually put on display to us every day. Right? We actually are able to see this in the world. The condition of the earth, the condition of the world, the condition of people speaks to whether or not that job is actually being performed.